guys, welcome back to Southern Latitudes. I'm Robin, and I thought we'd do a really special video for you. And really it was special for me because I had seen a couple videos of other YouTubers. Jacqueline, if you're watching, I heard her one time do a video where she had gone through some vegetable totals. I don't know if she did every month. I don't remember that part of it exactly, just that she was giving numbers. And I thought, that's fantastic. I would love to do that. I have no idea where I stand with food. I know it's a lot, but I don't know how much. So I thought that'd be really cool. I got what's in the house, but I got like just a regular calendar. Wasn't even a fancy garden planner. The year before I had a really fancy garden one, but really all you need is just any kind of calendar, or just even notebook. Really, you could do that with do this with that for yourself. But I just put eggs on one side. And as things came in from the garden, my husband bought me for Christmas just a little small scale. It does ounces, grams, pounds, kilograms, whatever you need. And it's really great because sometimes I will use recipes from, European countries or something like that, and things are in ounces, or grams of flour. And I'm just like, okay, I really have been needing one for a long time. So he got me that, and I've set it on pounds. So anytime any least little bit would come in from the garden to the house, I have a receiver box. I just set it there, and when I have a chance, I go ahead and input everything, and then we eat it. And once in a while, some things did slip through, but anyhow, what you're gonna see is the result of a whole year's worth of hard work paid off now with numbers. So let's go buy eggs first, because I know eggs are pretty important to everybody right now with this egg crisis and shortage, and the people are talking about the feed and everything. I didn't have to go through feed issues because mine already come, mine get corn that's cracked, and a formula, with eggshell and vitamins, minerals, all that comes out of a farm in Samsula. So if it's a family farm, I've been probably going to them for 8, 9, 10 years. So I just go to Hickling Farms if you're up that way in Samsula. So, okay, egg numbers. Just quickly, I didn't make a chart, so just listen closely. January was 55 eggs. February, 98. March, 106. April, 105, and we might have lost track of some eggs that month because we all had COVID, but that's about as close as I could remember. May, we dropped back to 72. June, 75. July, 54. August, 60. We got a slight bump there. September, a bump at 79. Then we had hurricanes, and if you know anything about chickens, they drop off with stress and heat, but they were coming back from the heat, but they stressed and from the hurricanes. So we dropped off to 44 eggs in October and 28 eggs in November, which is about right because they are slowing down with the lack of light. It's pretty much as soon as we go past summer solstice, you will get that little bump, and then you'll start seeing a decrease in your eggs. And December was 27 eggs. So November, December, 28, 27. That's just what happened. But the egg total, and for most of the year I had 7 hens. And then in about October, we got 2 young breast chickens, which are normally for meat, but they also really lay good eggs. So we added those 2 hens then, and they pretty much carried us through November, December, when the older girls stopped. And then we added, I want to say it was November, but I didn't write down the date. There was a hen on my street. There had been 3, and one by one they were getting killed. So I grabbed the last one, and I think somebody just threw them out because she's probably too old and not laying eggs. I haven't seen the egg from her. So we added her and we're up to 10. So altogether for the 2022 year, the year-end total for eggs was 802 eggs. That wasn't too bad for mostly 7 hens and then 2 later. Sorry, I lost power there. Thank goodness I had another battery. If you go by $4 a dozen, and of course, I don't know, some of you may pay upwards to $5 if you're in the country or somewhere with a lot of chickens, you may get $3.50 a dozen. But simple math, $4 a dozen means that I saved $267 in eggs with the hens. Now, feed costs went up, and I didn't keep track of all my feed, so deduct the feed. You do that in your own math. I don't know. My chickens get a lot of garden scraps. I actually grow my own fodder. A lot of the greens, they get the broccoli, the cauliflower, the mustard greens. They get radish tops. They get herbs. You know, they get a lot of that, plus all the leftovers from the house. So nothing goes to waste. It just turns into eggs. All right, let's do the food breakdown. So in January of 2022, I grew 65 pounds worth of food. So the bulk of that was grapefruit, papaya, tomatoes, and eggplants. Followed closely behind collards, peppers. Yes, I still have peppers in the dead of winter here, but I'm in 9B, 10A for growing zone. Starfruit, peas, English peas, radishes, bok choy, dill, and carrots. I didn't write down specific numbers for you because we want to get through this in less than 3 hours. In February of 2022, I grew 50.92 pounds, almost 51 pounds, and the bulk of that was 17 pounds worth of tomatoes. But I also had broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage accounted for a couple to few pounds of those 3 groups. Then peas, eggplants, radishes, lettuces, some papaya, they're heavy, celery, kale, Swiss chard, and a lot of mustard greens. Oh, I was also feeding a bunny back then too. March was 54.76 pounds. So a good bit of that was carrots. I had over 10 pounds of carrots, 4 pounds of collards, then broccoli and cabbage were also coming in. I don't know what, I don't have a lot of cauliflower in last year's notes, so I think I just had a really bad year for them, and so they didn't come out in the big numbers. I also had a pineapple come due in March. Then herbs like parsley, cilantro, there was radishes, kales, bananas, peppers, lettuce, did I say that? Peas, English peas, and more tomatoes, and 15 plus pounds of onions. That was my main pull of onions, but you'll see it more in later months. So in April, we did 44.09 pounds. 7 pounds of that was bananas, but I also had a ton of carrots and onions, red and yellow, because I had to wait later for the reds. Celery, collards, eggplant was 4.5 pounds for eggplants. Cabbages, different berries, so mulberries, strawberries, blackberries, and blueberries. Did I say that? Bunching onions, broccoli side shoots, Jimmy Nardello, and banana peppers. So not bad. May is a good month. 65.35 pounds. So 21 pounds of that was bananas. Then I still had onions coming off, eggplants, cabbage were on the decrease, broccoli was on the decrease. I had peppers, not a lot at once, but they were steady for months. Cucumbers, I did a late sowing of cucumbers, kind of like, well, I'm not late this year, but I sort of like resistant. I don't want to do cucumbers, I'll just buy cucumbers. And then I was like, no, I'm going to do them, and I put them in very late in May. But I ended up with over 6 pounds in May alone. But I also got a little squash, a little zucchini, not a lot of that. It was kind of late in the season. I should have done those sooner. June, we had 40.62 pounds Again, I still had cucumbers coming out my ears. I had that little Lily Crenshaw, or whatever they call it, but you know, I'm calling it a Lily Crenshaw melon or canary melon or something like that. I had only a couple of them, but you know, it's weight. Asparagus, tomatoes. I had over 10 pounds of tomatoes. Peppers, like pepperoncinis, but I had the Jimmy Nardello's sweet bananas. Okra, onions, limes. I had 5 pineapples come off really early in June. Eggplant, miracle fruit, and strawberries. I still had strawberries going in June. That's because I put them in the shade of the food forest. July, 45.41 pounds. I had 23 pounds of that was pineapple. I had 3.5 pounds was okra. I had peppers, limes, tomatoes, star fruit, Barbados cherries, which I probably have already had for 2 months by now, but forgot to write them down. Strawberries and eggplants. August is when we're going to see our big drop off, because as you know, you can't hardly breathe in August. There's no place to be except for in a pool in Florida, like 9B, 10A. You just got to be living in a pool. So okra survives that heat. I still had star fruit, peppers, Barbados cherries, black-eyed peas for the first time, and lime. Not first time ever, but first time in the calendar year. Limes. That was great. September was my worst month of all, 4 pounds. Okay, transitioning from September to October, we had Hurricane Ian hit on September 28th, and my yard got flooded with over 19 inches of rain. And so probably these numbers would be skewed a little bit less than I had hoped for from here on out to the rest of the end of the year, but it is what it is. October we had 7.81 pounds and altogether, and then 4 pounds of that was roselle. I had grapefruit. The grapefruit were coming off early because of the hurricanes. That's what the last month's grapefruit was. Something about the hurricanes just, it didn't kill the plant, but it just in a way rotted the fruit. I could still eat the fruit, but it was not gonna go on any further on the tree. The tree just gave it up. Every one of the grapefruits came off. So normally you would pick grapefruit in January, but not last year. Okay, moving on to November. I grew 59.01 pounds of food, and 48 pounds of that was sweet potatoes. I had a really amazing year. I'm very less than a dozen slips, and that is, I attribute that to the fact that onions were in there, and they're heavy feeders. So I was fertilizing like every 3 weeks with them, and then stopped, you know, as the bulbing stages. But then I followed it up with sweet potato slips, and boom, they just exploded on me. I had 2-3 pound sweet potatoes. But what made up the rest of that, the other 11 pounds, was grapefruit, roselle, lime, Barbados cherries, lettuce, and banana peppers. I had just great bananas, peppers. I just had great peppers the whole year. December, I grew 15 pounds, 15.21 pounds, and I saw pineapples come back, tomatoes. I had over 5 pounds of cucumbers. I think they were market more cucumbers, I think, if I remember right. And it was just sort of last minute, and they ended up, no, I didn't. I had Socrates, you guys. I had leftover seeds in a packet, and I just threw them in the ground, and I had over 5 pounds of cucumbers in December. That's right. Bok choy. I had papaya, limes, and radishes. Now the papayas, I ate very little. I dehydrated some, but most of it went to the chickens because that wasp thing that gets in there and destroys it. So for a year-end total for my half acre in East Central Florida, I was surprised that we came up with 466.38 pounds worth of food. And it's just a lot of going back and forth. Jack bought me a little scale, and I just weighed as much as I could. A couple things were eaten in the yard, a couple things were forgotten in the house and then cooked for dinner. But that's the gist of it. And I was shocked because I have a half acre, but we mostly grow everything on the quarter acre. So that tells me that you guys can do this. Most people who live in Florida or even a suburban setting, an urban setting, you can be growing hundreds of pounds of food yourself. And so anyhow, let's do projections into January and February of this year and see what 2023 is going to look like. So if you remember, I'll refresh your memory. January of 2022 was 55 eggs in January, and this year we have 70 eggs. Now I have 10 hens. I don't know that all of them are producing, but the 2 extra of the 3 that we adopted, you know, are laying. So we went from 55 to 70. In February last year we went from 97 eggs to 108 eggs this year. So I just I don't know what we are for March, but we're at a lot of eggs. Today I got 7 eggs out of 10 hens, and I know for sure one of them's in retirement stage. So for food, okay, we did, last year January we did 65 pounds of food. This year we did 26.7 pounds, and that's probably because I got such a late jump on my fall garden. 13.55 pounds of that was the bok choy. Some of you watched that video, I hope. And tomatoes, radishes, carrots, English peas, collards, mulberries, strawberries, 1 pineapple, early, celery, and bunching onions. I already said that. So that was pretty cool. And then for February last year was 50.9 pounds. This year was 42.53 pounds. 5 pounds of that was bok choy, over 10 pounds of cauliflower. I don't know the poundage on broccoli. The broccoli heads are much smaller this year, nothing to brag about. And that is likely because of the drought we're in. They just didn't get enough water. I can hand water all I want, but it's not what God does. You know, God brings the best rain in watering for all plants. I had over 4 pounds of dinosaur kale, more pineapples, ginger, starfruit, Swiss chard, tomatoes, anything that goes in a salad, carrots. Oh, I bet, was that last month? How many pounds of carrots do we have? 16 pounds of carrots? Yeah, that had to be included in that 42.5 pounds. So that's pretty good. And for March, we just pulled 2 banana racks off. So one of them was 7 pounds. I didn't weigh the second one. Broccoli, cauliflower. I picked several pounds of cauliflower and broccoli today, and about 3.5 pounds of celery today. All the tomatoes have bloomed. So, you know, put the thumbs up, subscribe, because you want to see April and May's tomatoes. I want to see it. So anyhow, stay with us for that. Ring that bell. Be sure to get into these videos very quickly. And well, that was pretty exciting. If I can do this in a small garden in a year's time, I mean, think of what money that took off of our family budget for the year. I don't even know how to calculate that, but I mean, I would love to have an economist answer and let me know how much money we saved in food, plus the fodder for the animals. So just absolutely mind-blowing. I'm so thankful, and it looks like 2023 is going to be even better than that. So you guys, thank you for watching. I hope you got a lot out of this. So take care, God bless, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.